All right, so today we're talking about basic behaviors that smart, independent women do that not only make you a target, but they also turn men off. And you need to cut these out if you want to find a masculine energy provider to have a beautiful experience of love. So the main thing that you want to know first, here is the first bit of really grounding and foundational information. And that is that the shadow side of the protector and provider activation gene DNA programming in men, there's a shadow side to that. And without realizing it, some women end up activating the shadow side. Okay, so let's talk about that. Hello, Diana. Hello, Jacqueline. Welcome in, everyone. The shadow side of hold on, give me 1 second to get really set up here. Okay, so the shadow side of the protector provider is the predator. Okay, so in every man, there is the programming, the communication, the information, the DNA activation to be a provider and a protector. But also in the same man is the predator switch. And this is important. Don't think that this is necessarily negative, because think of it this way. If you're married to a provider and a protector, he needs to have those predator tendencies, otherwise he wouldn't be able to go and hunt, right? Like that's how they evolved, to be able to hunt animals and kill off people that were going to come into their tribes and take their women and children. So that activation is also really interesting, right? And it's important. This is why sometimes women who are in their wounded feminine or masculine even, they end up going after the bad boys because they're attracted to that predator switch, but they don't realize that that needs to be balanced out, right? That needs to be something that the man is consciously aware of so that he can balance himself out. So if you know human nature, all human beings have the capability to animate all human behaviors and natures, right? So any one person has the ability to be evil, and they also have the ability to be good. They have the ability to be a predator, and they have the ability to be a kind, generous, giving person. What they choose to animate, there is free will, right? So what they choose to animate depends on, what kind of a life experience they're looking for here. Okay, so men want to be madly in love with you. They really do. There's a part of them that wants to be madly in love with someone that knows her worth, that's a high value woman, that is capable of receiving, that's soft for them to land in, but also strong and powerful as a woman. So they want this, right? But what happens is they also have that tendency to want to exploit and be able to get something for free, get something for very little effort. This is like the wounded side of them, right? Like conscious men have already evolved past this, but there is that part of them that wants to see if he can get something for free or easy, and this is really useful for him because this also helps him weed out women that are not high value and are not powerful and don't know their worth, because he doesn't want to necessarily invest his hard-earned energy, time, money into a woman that's not worthy, because then he's also going to have offspring that are of lower genetic value, right? So men don't realize, some men do, but a lot of men don't realize that they're actually testing us in the beginning. Hello, LP. So you want to make sure that you are conscious of this and you are staying ahead of those tests, right? Because those tests either make you seem like an easy prey that he can really, really manipulate you, or it's like, oh wait, hold on, this one's different. And a lot of women try to act like they're powerful and act like they're different, and that actually, the smarter you act and the smarter that you think you are, the easier prey that you are for men. Okay, this one's important, so really get this in. The smarter that you think you are, the easier prey that you are. Okay, I'm gonna tell you something bone chilling that my ex told me on his way out after he had completely destroyed my life. And it haunted me for many, many years until I realized that what he said was very true. Okay, I'm getting chills just thinking about this because a lot of women don't realize this. I don't know if it's correct, but I do test men too. Yes, you should be testing men too. They're doing the same thing with you. You need to be testing him too. Absolutely. Absolutely. So both genders are doing it. But if you're coming in not realizing, here's a big thing. I don't even have this in my notes, but I need to say this. Even for conscious men, when you ask them a question, what answer they will give you and what is actually going on in their subconscious, remember that 95% of our behavior, our actions, our thoughts, everything is unconscious. It's in the subconscious, which is 95%. 95%. So if you ask a man a question, he's going to give you the answer that seems politically correct, the right things to say, the one that's going to impress you from the 5% conscious mind. And you're going to be like, oh, okay, well, great, right? But how he behaves is going to be completely different because that's coming from his subconscious. So this is where you have to be really, really careful when you ask. Women come to me and they say, Mina, you know how you told me to do XYZ? Well, I went to my man and I asked him and he said he definitely would not like that. I'm like, yeah, duh. Yeah, because now you're not going to be an easy prey, right? Now you're going to require him to do something for you. Yeah, he's going to tell you that, babe. Just shut up and do it. Right? But don't go and like reveal yourself and like tell them, okay? What they say they want and what they say they will do is oftentimes different. I'm not saying this is the case all the time because some men are, especially older men, they're conscious and they're waking up and they know what their tendency is versus what they think. So get this really, really clear. What they tell you that they like and what they actually like, because 95% of it is in their subconscious, is very different. So you need to learn this, that human behavior is mostly hidden. So the shadow side of the provider slash protector is the predator. And if you activate the predator, now you want to have the predator. I like that, God forbid, if there was ever a situation, you know, and I was in a situation where I needed my husband to stand up and protect me, that the predator part of him could be activated. The predator part of him is also the part of him that's going to go to work and compete for the promotion so he can make more money to provide for his family. So you see how that's actually good, unless it's, you know, the man is using it in a wounded way. So be very, very careful with this. So be very conscious of this. Let me see what you guys are saying, and then I'm going to tell you some of the behaviors that you are doing that the collective consciousness in the world, in the Western world, and even the collective consciousness in the Eastern world now with the wounded feminine, tells you that that's gonna get him to love you even more, to be obsessed with you, to worship you. It is not working. It is activating his predator gene. This is why sometimes even when you marry, not sometimes, often, when you marry a very high value man, even they can be very mean towards you, right? Because you're activating this predator vibe against yourself. Let's talk about what are some of these behaviors, and this is not extensive by any means. There's lots of things that you could be doing that will bring out the predator because it's already there anyways. It's just you activating it more. Okay, so number one, okay? If you think that you are an independent woman and that you are equal to a man in his smarts and his ability to animate the predator, and you think you're smarter than him, you are an easy target. Repeat that, write it in the chat. Give this video a thumbs up if you want other women to see this. If you think you are smarter than a man and that you can outsmart his God-given evolutionary tendencies to go out and hunt and kill animals, which you don't have, right? Women have to consciously be like develop those habits if we wanted to be a predator. We were not predators because we were the childbearing gatherers, right? We weren't the ones that went and hunted animals. So I can assure you that you did not evolve through millions of years to be predatory in the sense that a man is able to do it, okay? It's a little bit different. Like women can be more manipulative because we were given more soft skills to be able to have control over a man, but we don't have that natural, like, predator vibe, like that. Why do you think that there are more male serial killers than female serial killers? Why do you think that is? Okay, a serial killer is the predator switch turned on and left on. There is a malfunction going on in there. Okay, right? Huge malfunction in the serial killer. Why do you think that all over the world there are more male serial killers than female serial killers? Because they have that, it's a stronger vibe, right, of the predator. So if you think that you can outsmart a man in his ways of thinking when it comes to being a predator, I'm telling you right now, you are the easiest prey there is. So let me tell you so much. I appreciate you, Amber. Amber, feminine growth expert, just sent me $5 on Super Chat, and she said, "Blessings, sister. Thank you for sharing your story with us." You are welcome. If me looking like the biggest idiot on the planet is going to help other women, I am all for that. It makes sense. Most arguments always have "you think you are smart, huh?" and vengeance mode is on. Yes. Yes. Okay. So if you think that you are smarter than him, now you may be more book smart, right? Right. Women nowadays are more educated and we know all that. But if you think that you are smarter than him in all his masculine ways, if you think you're smarter than him in the predatory activation or in the providing, or you have something coming for you and you need to be careful. That makes you the easiest target. This is why independent women, today's independent women, are the easiest target for men. Even good men, high value men that want, right? They'll lay out a few tests to see if you fall in the category that's going to be an easy lay for them, or someone that's someone that's going to be legacy love. And here's one, he's rooting for you. Most men are good men, okay? He's probably rooting for you. He wants you to be his legacy love. He wants you to be the one that's different, that proves to him that there's still like high value women left. But the part of him that's a predator, right? When he sees, oh man, it's just not gonna work, he goes in for the kill. He goes in for the kill. So you need to be really careful about this. Number two thing, and this is actually more like one of the tests that he will put you through. But sometimes it's so easy now that if you don't, he may not even have to trick you into this. You may reveal this about yourself. Bending your values for him. You can show up on the date and be all like, I'm the kind of woman and blah, 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 blah. And then he'll lay out a test and you make an exception for him. He's got you. He's got you. Because here's why. A high value woman who knows her worth wouldn't be blabbering all what she's about on her date anyways. This is why feminine mystery is so addictive to men. Because high value women that know their worth shut the F up on dates and let him do the talking. Let him reveal himself. Let him impress you. All right? So you need to be the one that stays quiet and lets him reveal himself. Ask him questions. Doesn't tell him all about you. That's how they immediately know who's high value, like right off the bat, because he doesn't know right away, right? He's testing you, seeing your behavior. Right off the bat, if you go and start revealing your whole life story and your values and everything, he knows that you're just talk and you're easy.